Rich Dad Poor Dad. Introduction. Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, grew up with two very influential fathers. Poor Dad was Kiyosaki's biological father, a man of great intelligence and education. Poor Dad believed that hard work and good grades would lead to a good job. Despite these seemingly positive characteristics, Poor Dad did not fare well financially. The father of Kiyosaki's closest buddy was Rich Dad. He shared Kiyosaki's true father's work ethic, but with a twist. Rich Dad promoted financial literacy, understanding how money functions, and making money work for you. Rich Dad eventually became a millionaire by using the power of money to his advantage despite being an 8th grade dropout. Kiyosaki describes how Rich Dad made money and the mistakes that Poor Dad made in the book from his point of view. About 2/3 of Rich Dad Poor Dad's first 6 chapters, which cover the 6 lessons Kiyosaki learned from his Rich Dad, are devoted to this topic. Chapter 1. The Rich Don't Work for Money. The title of this chapter is frequently misinterpreted as implying that the wealthy are lazy. The exact opposite is, in fact, true. The chapter title should be interpreted as The Rich Don't Work for Money. But Kiyosaki actually means The Rich Don't Work for Money. Note that this section has a completely different connotation when the word money is stressed. The truth is that most wealthy people put in a lot of labor, but they approach it differently than most people. Every day, wealthy people and those aspiring to wealth struggle to improve their knowledge of how to make money work for them. According to Rich Dad, the poor and middle class work for money. The rich have money to work for them. The long-term challenge of building wealth and financial freedom is one that Kiyosaki also emphasizes. It's fear that keeps most people working at a job. The worry of not paying their bills, the fear of getting fired, the fear of not having enough money, and the fear of starting over. That is the cost of going to school to learn a trade or profession and then working to make money. Most people become slaves to money, which leads to them becoming enraged with their bosses. Chapter 2. Why teach financial literacy? In Rich Dad Poor Dad, the distinction between an asset and a liability is discussed in Chapter 2. The message in Chapter 2 is that what matters most is how much money you keep, not how much money you make. An asset is something that has worth, generates income or increases in value, and has a market where it is simple to buy and sell the item. Assets produce income. Assets appreciate. Assets do both. Liabilities, on the other hand, cost you money because of the expenses related to them. When Kiyosaki originally wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad in 1997, he sparked a great deal of debate with this assertion. That's because a personal residence isn't considered an asset by definition unless its value increases sufficiently to cover its cost of ownership. However, rental property is an asset if it can produce enough passive income to cover the costs of maintaining and financing a piece of real estate. Want to get wealthy? Read on, advises Kiyosaki in Chapter 2 of Rich Dad Poor Dad. When you have a thorough understanding of what an asset is, focus your efforts on purchasing income-producing assets. Limit your liabilities and spending. Your asset column will get deeper. Chapter 3. Mind your own business. This chapter's 2 main points are as follows. Pay off your bills first, and then as soon as you can, begin investing in assets that will provide income. Next, maintain sound financial standing by investing as much of your money as you can and investing your time instead of your paycheck. In Chapter 3 of Rich Dad Poor Dad, Kiyosaki observes that the majority of people conflate their occupation with their business. In other words, they devote their entire lives to making other people wealthy by working in their businesses. The majority of the poor and middle class are fiscally conservative, And one of my favorite quotations from this part is, "They lack a solid financial base," which is the main reason why they do not have a strong financial base. They must hold on to their careers and take the safe route. They are unable to take chances. Chapter 4: The History of Taxes and the Power of Corporations. It's crucial to remember while reading this chapter that Kiyosaki wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad as a motivating book rather than to offer professional tax or financial advice. For instance, Kiyosaki describes how he once spent before tax money on a Porsche and claimed it as a company cost, when a far less expensive brand and model would suffice. Purchasing a high-end luxury vehicle could put an investor on the fast track to an IRS audit. However, setting Porsche aside, this chapter's arguments focus on how to make wise financial decisions. The wealthy are aware of the influence of business structures and the tax code and employ all available legal strategies to reduce their tax liability. In contrast to how most people pay taxes, consider how entrepreneurs and investors who own firms like C Corps, S Corps, or LLCs pay taxes. Corporate structured business owners earn, spend, remit taxes. Personnel who are employed by businesses earn, taxes must be paid, spend. It is important to note that while business owners earn and spend money prior to paying taxes, employees who work for someone else do not. The four primary facets of what Kiyosaki refers to as financial IQ, accounting, investment strategy, market law, and law, are also covered in Chapter 4 of the book. Building long-term wealth is considerably aided by being aware of the legal and tax advantages, as Rich Dad Poor Dad points out. For example, a business may pay expenses before taxes, whereas an employee must pay taxes first and then attempt to pay expenses from the remaining funds. Additionally, businesses provide legal defense against lawsuits. When someone sues a wealthy person, they frequently encounter multiple layers of legal defense and discover that they truly own nothing in their own name. They are in charge of everything yet do not directly own anything. Chapter 5: The Rich Invent Money. Finding possibilities or transactions that other people don't have the ability, expertise, resources, or relationships for is what it means to invent money. There are two categories of investors, as explained in Chapter 5 of Rich Dad Poor Dad. People who trust a developer or fund manager with their money purchase investment packages. This is how most individuals invest, whether they are purchasing ETF shares or backing a real estate crowdfunding project. Professional investors manage their own investments, conduct market research to identify transactions that make sense, and then employ experts to handle the day-to-day management. Three characteristics of seasoned investors are common. Find chances that others have not yet discovered. Collect money to invest. Collaborate with other smart people. One of my favorite final observations from this chapter is as follows. Some claim that their area doesn't offer good real estate deals, but exceptional chances may be found everywhere if you explore. The majority of people lack the financial training necessary to notice the opportunities in front of them. Chapter 6: Work to Learn. Don't work for money. Poor Dad was intelligent, educated, and worked for money because he valued job security much. Rich Dad worked hard to obtain his $1,000,000 fortune. As Kiyosaki puts it, I advise young people to seek employment more for what they will learn than for the money they will make. Before deciding on a specific profession or joining the rat race, consider the abilities they want to develop in the future. In actuality, Kiyosaki took that exact action. After graduating from college, he joined the Marines where he acquired the crucial managerial and leadership abilities needed in the workplace. After serving his country, Kiyosaki joined Xerox, overcome his fear of failure to rank among the firm's top 5 salespeople, and eventually quit his job to start his own company. Rich Dad's 6th chapter, the combination of managerial skills required for company success, is then covered by Poor Dad. Cash flow control, systems administration, people administration. Chapter 7, Overcoming Challenges. Rich Dad's Chapter 7, in the opening line of his book, Poor Dad says that the main difference between a rich person and a poor person is how they manage anxiety. The kind of terror that some individuals experience when visiting the dentist or watching The Exorcist is not what Robert Kiyosaki is referring to. The dread of financial loss and coping strategies are discussed throughout the book under the heading Fear. One of the top 5 challenges for persons seeking financial independence is this: fear, cynicism, laziness, bad habits, arrogance. People who have studied and attained financial literacy are still unable to create assets that produce a lot of cash flow because of these obstacles and their inability to get past them. Fear. The dread that comes with losing money is a reality of investing in life. According to Kiyosaki, he has never seen a wealthy person who has never lost money. But he has encountered many poor individuals who, because they have never invested, have never experienced the same fate. Investors in real estate who only take action on a sure thing are actually paralyzed by fear. The majority of people never, ever succeed in life or investing because they lack the ability to see the big picture and think critically. Cynicism. Everyone has self-confidence issues, and it's simple to fall into the what-if trap, especially if friends and family are continually pointing out your possible flaws. Common what-if concerns shared by all real estate investors include the possibility of the economy collapsing, an increase in interest rates, and rent arrears. Even while these are crucial factors to take into account, it's crucial to avoid letting other people's pessimism take control of your life. If not, you risk becoming immobile and missing out on possibilities. Laziness. In the connected world of today, it is simple to mistake busy work for meaningful accomplishments. Rich Dad Poor Dad asserts that those who are overly busy are frequently the least diligent. Busy folks come to work early and stay late. On the weekends and after hours, they bring their work home to finish. The people and things that are most important to them vanish before they realize it. Successful real estate investors are proactive and put themselves and their wealth first rather than giving in to the demands of the rat race and equating action with success. Bad habits. Behavior is governed by habits. For instance, the majority of people pay their bills before paying themselves. As a result, there is typically very little money left over for investment at the end of the month. Paying yourself first makes you financially stronger both mentally and financially. Even if you don't have the money to compensate other people, it's kind of like reverse psychology. The fear of not being able to make payments to creditors motivates you when you form the habit of paying yourself first. You then start looking for alternative sources of income, such as real estate investment. Arrogance. Investors understand how to make money. However, the things they don't know, and don't even realize they don't know, are what cost them money. When someone is extremely conceited, they genuinely think that what they don't know doesn't matter. Develop the habit of listening to other people, particularly when it comes to money and investment. Find out more about a topic if you find out you don't know much about it, or consult an expert. It takes a combination of effort and balance to overcome these 5 major roadblocks to real estate success. Today's world is full of chicken littles, or people who have a victim mentality and go through life with cynicism and pessimism. Rich Dad Poor Dad advises eliminating the naysayers and their anxieties from your life. Focus on the larger picture and consistently question, what's in it for me? Getting started. In Chapter 8, Rich Dad Poor Dad tells everyone that there is gold everywhere. Most people are not trained to see it. This lack of vision and clarity is partially a result of the environment we live in. From an early age, we are taught to work hard for others, spend our earnings, and take out more loans if we run out of money. Unfortunately, those who opt for conformity never make the effort to cultivate their financial genius. The ideal example is investing in real estate. The untrained investor might easily identify 4 or 5 offers that make sense in a single day, while the typical individual may spend a week searching the market and come up empty-handed. The following 10 stages will help you enhance your financial IQ and find the hidden treasure that is just waiting to be found. Have a strong emotional motivation or purpose behind what you do, which may include both wants and dislikes. Recognize the importance of making decisions every day, including selecting healthy habits and educating yourself. By using the influence of association, pick your friends wisely and be careful not to listen to those who are weak or afraid. Develop a system for creating money and master the power of quick learning. By learning to control your financial flow, people, and personal time, you can pay yourself first. Choose excellent team members and pay them well for their counsel because you will profit more if they are well paid. Focus on the return on investment first, then the return on investment when asking how quickly do I get my money back. Focusing on self-discipline to direct money to create more will help you use the money created by the assets you own to purchase indulgences. Have someone you can look up to as an example and use their genius to your advantage. Recognize that you must first give before you can receive. Still, want more? Here are some to-dos. Rich Dad Poor Dad's last chapter, Chapter 9, summarizes the book's most important lessons into a list of steps you may start implementing right away. Stop what you are doing, take a break, and evaluate what's working and what isn't. Look for information on various and original topics to generate fresh ideas. Find a mentor who has traveled in the same direction as you. Invite them to lunch and learn from them. Continue to learn by reading, attending seminars, and taking workshops. Always include escape clauses in your proposals because someone will eventually accept them. Spend 10 minutes every month for the following 12 months driving, walking, or running in a certain area in search of changes that result in discounts. When the market turns around, look for real estate bargains since profits are made when buying, not when selling. Investing in your education will help you learn how, when, and where to buy. Because tiny thinkers don't receive the big breaks. Think bigger to become richer. Finding a buyer first, then a seller can help you buy a bigger pie and break it into parts because most individuals just look for what they can afford. Think big. Gather a group of people and bargain for volume discounts because history always repeats itself. Read about it and take lessons from it. Inaction never wins. Action does. Is Rich Dad Poor Dad worth reading? The intention of Rich Dad Poor Dad is to inspire you to create your own special route to financial independence. Although the book doesn't offer ready-made solutions or a one-size-fits-all strategy, it does offer a great framework for formulating your own goals for increasing your wealth through real estate investing. Strengths gives an opposing viewpoint to the common knowledge present in the majority of personal finance courses. Focuses on converting income into assets that generate additional income. Encourages restraint of expenses and spending. explains the advantages of investing in real estate over other asset classes, emphasizes the value of thinking and lifelong learning, discusses doing it rather than merely thinking about it. Weaknesses: the book's success stories are distinctive to Kiyosaki's circumstances and may be challenging to recreate. The lack of detail in several sections of the book may make it harder to implement the ideas covered. People who prefer to think for themselves than follow the crowd are sometimes mocked. The motivating book Rich Dad Poor Dad was not penned by a financial professional. Thanks you.